Oh! Pardon, mes amis, une seconde, je dois mettre ça, vas-y, d'accord. Merci, mes amis, pour venir. C'est le Perspective académique, on est là à la Louvre, c'est magnifique ici, on a beaucoup d'art de regarder, et maintenant, on doit emmener les casteurs de l'académie pour venir regarder l'art qu'on a. So, on a Magical, je pense, il est un peu fou, mais c'est Magical, et Kubi, je pense, qu'on va emmener là pour regarder un peu de l'art. Bienvenue, mes amis, bienvenue.
Can you understand him?
Yeah, roughly. I think hello.
Mais pourquoi pas?
I think that he brought us in. Hello.
Okay.
D'accord. On va continuer. On a de l'art à regarder, les amis.
Okay.
Donc, on va continuer. On va regarder l'art. Donc, on avait un match. On va regarder un tout petit peu de l'art qui convient au match qu'on a juste regardé. D'accord, mes
We're
amis?
drawing.
Et tu vas me dire ce qu'on a.
We are drawing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I need subtitles.
Je vais juste continuer. D'accord.
Okay, we're drawing. I'm ready to draw.
Okay, drawing. I got it. Cool. All right, what are we drawing?
I believe that our friend from France
D'accord.
is.
Uh-huh.
Okay. The lines are appearing.
Okay, well, that's usually how drawing works.
Yes.
I understand that part. It's the French part that I don't understand.
So it's gonna tie to the last
pourquoi
game.
Pas? C'est français.
I believe that it's an item. Is that Eclipse?
Oh, ouais, c'est
Wow.
bienvenu. C'est trop. Regarde, ça c'est la raison qu'on a amené Kobe.
Okay.
All right.
Kobe.
I think I won.
D'accord.
I
Donc on a un peu de là. C'est une éclipse.
I didn't know Eclipse was blue, but
c'était,
you know,
c'était quelque chose, d'accord.
I didn't know that either.
On va
I thought Eclipse
continuer,
was
on va
a top laner
continuer.
in the next game. But you know,
Yeah,
we'll
that's
take
next
that
year's.
here. Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 guess. I get bonus points on that one. Okay, more drawing.
Oh, okay, we're back to drawing. Okay, cool. Let's see.
This is quite the halftime show. As we are, I mean,
c'est du
That
là.
looks
C'est
like wind.
l'académie.
It looks like clouds. It
we'll
looks
see if the
like,
Super Bowl can top this.
Oui, le Super Bowl d'académie.
It looks like waves. It looks like hair.
Donc,
Ocean Dragon.
Ça, mes amis, ça va.
Ocean Drake.
On doit regarder ce que c'est, d'accord? Donc c'est un peu. C'est comme ça.
Yeah.
C'est comme ça. C'est comme.
Wait,
c'est comme
is
ça.
it wind? Is it Cloud Drake?
I said
Oh,
Wind?
c'est presque,
I said
c'est
wind
presque,
already.
presque.
Breezy. It's
Oh.
breezy.
Oh! Ben, Kubi encore la deuxième fois, c'est trop bien.
Two
Voilà, d'accord. On a une troisième, d'accord? On a une troisième, ça va.
I will say I've
D'accord,
not
on y
taken any French, but you know,
I really need subtitles.
we're
I
here.
know German.
I've been to France
Crazy
once.
Ça va, mes amis, tu vas comprendre,
One time I went to
ça
France,
va,
I actually
ça va.
bartered with someone. It was fun.
That's a spear.
Is it a spear or an arrow?
Oh, it's an arrow, piercing arrow.
Et c'est quelque chose d'autre.
W,
C'est-
the empowered W for Varus.
Hey,
Oh, okay.
Donc,
Yeah.
mes amis, on a trois
Yeah.
trucs d'art
There
ici.
you go. So,
On peut voir ce
Our
qu'on a.
artist liked Prismal
Et-
and Breezy a lot.
Yeah.
Oui,
Oh,
vas-y.
Okay, all right.
Ben, Prezi, comment tu l'as dit? Prezi, c'était trop bien. Et vraiment, ils étaient magnifiques. C'est du vrai art.
I think I got this one. You're talking about Breezy, so Prismal and Breezy. And how they're the
D'accord,
ones
oui,
that
c'est
we gotta
bien.
watch? Did I get that right?
Oui,
I'm understanding.
vas-y.
You know,
I'm learning.
mes
I'm
amis.
surprised.
Ah,
I guess that you know we don't have crocodiles in France, but you know that's so
Non,
far
pas
so
des
good.
crocodiles. Oui, ça va. On a du lard. Et c'est trop bien. Mais même, mes amis, c'était bien d'avoir, c'était bien de regarder un peu du lard aux perspectives académiques. Mais là, je dois retourner à mon café et mon bouquin. Donc, je vais aller.
Coffee?
Et au revoir.
Oh.
D'accord. Ciao,
Oh,
ciao.
I guess. Okay, he's just gonna leave us like that. So
J'ai mon...
he went over. I actually kind of like that he went over Prismal and Breezy. Well, you know, Doko is very important winning that last fight that we saw. I still think that we got to talk about how Prismal and Breezy work.
Can we talk about what just happened? How did we get through that segment?
you carried us. I don't know how you managed it, but I understood.
Just gonna sip
only-
on my coffee and keep on going, you know?
Yeah, I got a trash can that I'm sipping out of. So
Excellent. Well, cheers. Here's the art.
To art. Yep. And you know what was artful? CLG's game. That last one.
Yes.
Looked beautiful.
In all seriousness, that early game was a masterpiece. As
It was.
CLG, this has been their textbook strategy throughout the early season of Academy, making sure that the solo lanes have the ability to get ahead and then just playing out 3 lanes. The way that they're making sure that their 3 lanes are hovered, protecting them with vision, protecting them with priority in other lanes as well. It's a full court press from CLG for a lot of these games, and it's been paying off huge.
And it makes me wonder what teams can do to possibly stop that. It just seems like no team in Academy has an understanding of how they're able to do that. And I hear that we actually have our host back. We don't have to worry about the Frenchman stepping in. We actually have someone who might be able to walk us through a little bit more without you having to decipher everything, because I didn't get subtitles for that section.
You know what? They call me a color caster for a reason. I got to be able to interpret colors, and I hope
What
I was
was
able to do
like?
that.
I just heard some French over my headphones. I was making some lunch, and like
You're at a
I don't know.
cafe.
I know a little
Anyway.
French, but I'm not fluent or anything. But this game, I mean, that was spectacular
It was.
for one side.
It was spectacular for one side. I can see the strategy, though, from FlyQuest.
Yeah,
Pairing up the
exactly.
Gragas and the Corki with an Aphelios. I think that against CLG, you just cannot afford to take 3 losing lanes early. Because CLG, that's what they've been like smashing teams all season, just winning lanes. And I want to see if FlyQuest maybe changes up their strategy going to the next one to try and prevent that.
Yeah. I'm getting my notes ready. I was hoping that Lennon would be able to take that over. But yeah, I'm just kind of looking at how things are going to go for FlyQuest going into this next one. Apparently, our lovely host is frozen on us.
I mean, this
So
is
we'll
what
hopefully
happens when you just go from country to country in the span of 20 seconds.
That is true. I mean, hopping around the world in not even 80 days makes it a little difficult to actually get an internet connection. But looking at how this game is going to go, I'm just looking at how FlyQuest are going to approach this draft. Because I didn't necessarily hate that draft, but the big thing was what we highlighted, the 15 minutes versus the 25 minutes. And we know CLG are really good at punishing at 15 minutes. And one of the things is that for FlyQuest,
Magic.
that's when they tend to struggle, is that 15-minute mark.
They weren't able to.
I thought you were gonna have a point to back that one up. I was just coming in hot. Yeah, I don't know what was happening. A little disconnect. So for me, as I was kind of saying, I don't know if it came through, but like the mental reset for me is super important, right? And that comes in the draft. That comes early in this second game.
I think that I am curious because I know that going into the next game, FlyQuest is sticking to the same side as each teams do get to choose a side for one game in the best of 2s. And I want to see what type of strategy we see coming out of red side, because I think that FlyQuest utilized their counter to try and go for neutralizing the lanes of CLG. I want to see if they can use the counter to try and win one of the lanes against CLG.
Exactly. Well, guys, we have gotten the word. Champ Select is about ready, so take it away for our second game.
And I'm glad that you talked about that, Cubby, so that when we get ready for our champion select, we also got to say bye to our lovely host of Marcel. We'll see you after this game, getting ready for our second series. But we got to finish this one. Game 2, CLG Academy, FlyQuest Academy. And I look at this, and I look at how FlyQuest are going to draft. And since they are back on the red side, they're staying on red against CLG here. I want to see, instead of that Gragas pick, I would like to see something that is going to be able to be more, as you said, more of a hands-on pick for Philip, maybe even for Spyrex, because these are players that we expect good things. Spyrex even, on that Corki, that package that was able to, maybe not net a kill for him, but it was able to net a victory for the team. Their only kill that they got in that game was from him splitting up that fight completely.
And I think that for FlyQuest, trying to slow things down against CLG, it's just a strategy that we haven't seen work against CLG for the early season. Now, I think it is something that can work for FlyQuest. Something that a lot of their coaches have been talking about is how they're scaling into the season. And for FlyQuest, I think given the fact that, I mean, Philip, he only had a couple weeks in Academy in the summer. Yuji and Spyrax are new. I think that this team, it really is about scaling not only into games, but into the season, as these players, being new to Academy, have a lot to pick up in the early season, and they have been looking better throughout the weeks, which is what we like to see at this level of play. But I just want to see if we have any different strategies coming out from them, or if we get a salty run back.
I was about to say, right now we are
So
getting
far.
the salty run back. Everything is the same. All 3 bans on each side, exactly the same. The Thresh, exactly the same. Aphelios, exactly the same. The Jarvan too, if that gets locked in. We are definitely at that salty run back position.
I think we might see the pivot on 3. I would not be surprised if Spyrax blinded Victor. I think that could be one thing. I could also see Philip blinding Renekton and then banning out a couple counters to that Dokla may play. I think if any shifts, we're going to see any shifts, that's where. But I expect CLG to respond the same way this game. And to be fair to FlyQuest, thinking back to the early game, UG had an idea of what to do. He was going bot, trying to attack. That flag and drag just didn't connect. And they did have the flash down from Breezy, so it was a bit of an unlucky start for FlyQuest.
Wow.
Maybe they think that running things back, they can find a similar scenario where they can get ahead this time around.
Yeah, again, we still are at that position where it could be the salty run back. If LeBlanc gets banned here, then we get Victor, Syndra, Gwen. We don't actually get the full salty run back. There it is. Tryndamere banned. To me, that indicates that Sparks wants that Victor. But last time, Victor got banned by CLG Academy, so I doubt he's going to be able to get that champion.
Maybe we see a Graves coming in?
That could be another one.
That could be one option. The Tryndamere ban is curious, as I want to see more info on what they are trying to set up. I know that something
I think you got it. I think it's the Graves.
Okay. Akali taken away as well. Oh no, I think this is blind Renekton.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah, I think they're gonna take Renekton on 4.
That could be a good one, because Dokla on that champion was, I mean, in lane, he was just farming away and pushing off Philip, and then once he finally joined in the fights, poor Tomo wasn't allowed to play in that final fight. He literally forced Aphelios completely away and made him absolutely useless, and there it is. You hit it right onto the head.
If they left up the Gwen, it would have been the Gwen, but it is going to be Renekton on 4. I expect Demonte to still respond with potentially what I figure will be a Gragas. The Aurelia is interesting for me because that's something that Demonte and Dokla can both play. And Aurelia, it is a bad matchup in Renekton. Now, if you ask Tenacity, who is the best Aurelia that we have on the server, he likes that matchup. So it will not be the case, though, for the side of CLG, as it will be the Graves for Dokla, something that he has done well on in the early season.
I was holding my breath that entire time, waiting to see if it was going to be the Aurelia. I really wanted to see that. And yeah, Syndra for Spyrax would make a lot of sense here. Ryze, interesting flex that they could go for, but you know what? I think it's one of those things that kind of functions in not exactly the same way as Syndra, where you have good range to be able to catch people out, but the fact that you're going to be able to get that scaling still available, you've got pretty decent wave cleared too, and you're not really punished by Corki in that early lane phase.
For the side of FlyQuest, this is a very different game, even though the first 3 picks were the same for each team. For FlyQuest, I think it's all about attacking those side lanes, making sure that Ryze and Renekton can play together. You have 3 lanes you can now go towards as UG, and it's going to be about snowballing this game for FlyQuest. The CLG, we're on the back foot for the scaling, waiting for that Corki to come online, and once you get Prismal and Demonte to the later stages of the game, the amount of poke coming out of CLG and the lack of range on the side of FlyQuest going to be really difficult for FlyQuest to answer. So I want to see if FlyQuest, when they pull off their engages, if they are together and on the same target. I think it's going to be really important for them as they try and defeat this poke comp.
Exactly, and I think that's where we need to see FlyQuest playing aggressively, using those hands, the mechanics we know that they have, that they're capable of in the early game. Getting these early leads, denying CLG from being able to scale up into the game. But even though CLG are a team that, with this draft, needs to scale up, I don't expect them to just sit back passively.
I mean, it's CLG. We haven't seen any passiveness from CLG at all this season, as coming into the day, major gold lead in 59% of the time they've been on the Rift. That is absurd. That is out of this world numbers. As I mentioned, the previous highest, or the next highest, 36%. That's how dominant CLG have been in their 7-1, now 8-1 record, and gonna have to see if they can continue that in their series against FlyQuest.
Look at how CLG are pathing here in Game 2 of Week 3, Day 1 against FlyQuest. All 5 members on this bottom half of the map they're not actually going to get that play to work out. They're already getting the recall from Dokla. They were hoping to see if maybe there's going to be an early invade coming in from FlyQuest.
No dice early, Mad Magical, as...
Boo.
I think for CLG, something that I did like from the last game, and I've liked from a lot of their games so far in this early season, things feel controlled. It's not like they're getting these early game leads by coin flipping everything across the map. They have an idea of how to play as a team and play with priority to make sure that the fights they take are 70-30, 60-40. It always feels like things are in their favor.
It's why they're at the top of the standings at the moment, only having dropped a single game so far in this spring split. They're looking incredibly dominant, and with how they played last game, if they can do that again here, I don't expect that they're going to drop another game today.
Well, FlyQuest has one chance to stop your prediction from being correct, Mad Magical. As I know that you do like when things get crazy. I think FlyQuest coming back, making this a 1-1. As neutral as that scoreboard would look like, considering the form CLG is in, might be a little bit mad from the side of FlyQuest.
And we all know I like mad stuff, so we'll see if FlyQuest give me that and play with what you talked about. Utilizing Philip, utilizing Spyrex to play towards these side lanes. Get the Renekton and Ryze to pair up together, try to see if they can get these early leads, because Spyrex, last game, was pretty critical. And nearly dragging some fights back with those packages. And then you look at Philip in the top lane. When we look at how he's tend to play this split so far, he has been a good force for FlyQuest in these early stages of the game.
One of the things that Phillips really improved on compared to his time in Academy, where he was kind of thrown into the fire, being the late addition to FlyQuest as they were going through a lot of roster changes in summer of last year, is how he plays out his lane states. Much better idea of how to execute matchups, and it's putting Philip in more favorable positions going into the game, and we've seen Philip cash out in that 2-0 they had over Immortals on that Aatrox. Just had two massive games on that champion that really helped FlyQuest get some wins on the board.
And Spyrex was bullying around Damonte here in the mid lane. Trying to force him off of these minion waves. Exactly. This is what we were talking about. Ryze, not really going to be too threatened by the Corki early game. Corki really needs those missile barrages if he wants to actually be able to kind of fight back and wave clear effectively against the Ryze. Why Damonte is getting all the way back towards his turret. We'll be safe for now. But I just want to see how Spyrex is going to capitalize on this shove he's gotten mid.
Rosethorn has gotten beat a little bit in the jungle pathing and now might find UG.
UG's going to spot him out. He's got Spyrex behind him if he needs to. There's going to be the flag drag knock up on to Rosethorn. They've got a lot of damage to be able to follow this up. But they're not going to get the root just yet from Spyrex. They got to get Diamond over here if they want to be able to get that. Is the lantern and the flag and drag a little too late.
Good escape for Rosethorn. UG does have the option to go for the Krugs into the top crab. As one of the different parts about this game, it is the same draft and the same first three. But UG off to a much better start. Already up 2 camps, and as each jungler has taken their first base, UG has a path towards that top crab to try and continue to propel himself further ahead in this matchup.
But we just need to see how that first gank is going to work this time around. Last game, that flag and drag was just short and allowed CLG to get Rosethorn into the bot lane so Prismal could get that early kill that essentially made it so that Tomo and Diamond couldn't effectively play against Prismal and Breezy. Here, like you said, UG's got a small lead, but it's still a lead nonetheless over Rosethorn, which is denying some of the early skirmish potential as Xin Zhao has.
Another very quiet early game. Mad Magical, as will be Rosethorn going for this top crab. UG here to answer. Philip does have the wave with him, but UG will be spotted on this ward. We'll see what Rosethorn does with this information as he is now ahead in tempo.
Hard to dive a Graves top lane. That's kind of why we've seen it. Bot lane, the 2v2 fight. Both of these bot laners love to battle, and they like to see who's going to be able to get the upper hand as Breezy missed that hook. But getting that flash heal out of Prismal, UG now has a nice lane that he can easily gank, but we got to turn our attention back to the top lane.
No dashes.
Has shown up, sees Philip, who's only level 5. No dominance available. A lot of damage on a Dokla. He's got to wait out the cooldowns. Rosethorn's trying to see if he can get the knock up the flash away, but the flash is going to be followed up as well, and that is going to be an easy first blood for Rosethorn.
Philip trying to get creative, flashing around to buy time to get the slice and dice back to wrap up Dokla, but not enough. Rosethorn finds another early lead for one of his solo laners. Yuji will answer with the Raptors, but CLG will take that for Dokla in the top lane. We have been talking about CLG's gold lead entering the 14-minute mark. Dokla averaging over 1,000 gold yet again, and this is part of the reason why. Not only has Dokla been playing great, but Rosethorn, in the way that he's been playing around his laners, has been fantastic in this early season as well.
And with how far Philip was playing there, without any vision to be able to spot out Rosethorn, was greedy. And now this is forcing FlyQuest to have to look for a play elsewhere. They've got 4 members into the bot lane, but Rosethorn being right behind them
hover.
is a great hover. It will completely deny that attempted play coming in from FlyQuest.
Really good map movements from Rosethorn on the recovery is a good call out from CLG to say, hey, this is a window that we might be able to get dove bot. Rosethorn says, I've got you. I've got your back. Those Krugs will go over to the Xin Zhao, and CLG's bot lane will get those minions. As I will say, one of the changes, even though Philip is a little bit behind now in the top lane, Tomo and Diamond, given the fact that there was no jungle intervention in that bot lane early in this game, have been able to get off to a much better start, and Diamond has really been using that support counter pick to make sure this Aphelios is set up for success early.
Getting the flash shield, like I said before, it is a good setup for Yuji to look for a play in the bot lane. But I think that's why we're even seeing CLG get Rosethorn to hover bot lane. They got the gank to work top lane. They've got the Renekton to have to buy those early boots, the steel caps, just to get a little bit less damage.
And as we're entering the first Rift Herald spawning, I really want to see how CLG is able to play this. Mind you, in Game 1, FlyQuest, we're able to secure that first Rift Herald with the package, but we're not able to get it to crash. This time, CLG has the package available on Demonte, has that lead in the top lane with Dokla doing well into Philip as well. And I want to see if they can use this to take the Rift Herald for free, as Philip, no flash, no TP, he's running for the hills.
Yeah, Rosethorn and Demonte are right there. We're looking for him. With the diamonds available, it would have been
Nice,
a risky
Breezy.
fight. Bot lane, they got the hook on a diamond, but it is still going to be diamond with Aftershock on this Nautilus.
So you can see Breezy waiting for that Nautilus to bounce off of that dredge line, landing the flay so that Diamond can't follow up with the auto attack. Really good thresh play coming out from Breezy, as that is a niche window to hit. And here we see the response from FlyQuest. We talked about this quirky package and going for the Rift Herald. FlyQuest already has 4 members committed to the bot side of the map. Demonte trying to scout.
Oh, we'll spot him out with the help of that control ward. That's a lot of damage onto Spyrex. Doesn't realize Yuji's on the other side. Nice package away, though, to be able to survive.
Oh,
Red
no!
buffs. Oh, it resets! No, Yuji! Oh, that's tragic.
Oh, no! Okay, Yuji's going to hard commit to this, as the package is already out. CLG didn't need to hold it for the Herald, as Dokla is already very far ahead, and they forced Philip out of lane. And CLG, one thing I've really been complimentary of when it comes to CLG is how they've been playing around this Rift Herald in the early game. Another game where they get Rift Herald with minimal investment, and FlyQuest got nothing in return.
Yeah, they get what?
Red
buff? Yeah, a red buff that reset too, so that it used a lot of time that Yuji could have used to maybe get that dragon that is spawned, the Cloud Dragon, available for the team. Maybe they could still get that, but now it will be contested by CLG.
Also, CLG in this early game, bad magical. We've seen Spyrax getting shove as the rise and hovering, trying to make these plays. He has not been able to find any. And as time goes on, Demonte with these rockets will be poking out this rise, making it more difficult for Spyrax to get out of the lane. Once you finish that mirror mana, you stop having mana problems as the Corki in the mid lane. Demonte is going to be close to having that, should have it on this base, in fact. And for FlyQuest, given the fact their top laner's behind, Spyrax is going to start to get outscaled in this matchup. It feels like they haven't been able to hit those early windows to really punish CLG.
I think this is why I'm so big on Dokla, too. Just one game, one simple game to make sure they can get this lead over Philip. And he is able to make the most of it, getting a huge CS lead, finishing that Immortal Shield Bow as well, just so he can continue to bully Philip and neutralize this Renekton completely.
That is something about Dokla in the early season, as I said, he's, a man of little words, but I think it says a lot in the fact that, like I said, I always like or give players the opportunity to share anything they'd like, something extra. And Dokla, he kept it short, but it was did a lot of work this offseason, and it's paying off now. And I mean, credit to Dokla for putting in that work. And as you mentioned, his kind of up and down climb throughout the NA scene, he is someone that, mind you, was in Proving Grounds finals, right? Was subbing in for Team Liquid and Jenkins as they were going to Worlds. Played admirably in the very close 5-game series. Seeing Dokla back in Academy and doing so well in the early season too. Really good to see, as he has been a huge standout in this early season, along with the rest of his roster.
And last year, it already looked like he had upgraded his performance, but he continues to do that here, this year. And that is what impresses me with him. And I am so excited to see players have that redemption arc, to be able to come in here and play so well, especially when you look across the board at CLG. Their players across the board are playing amazing. We already knew that Prismo Breezy was going to be a powerful bot lane, but Rosethorn too. There's a reason why we keep hyping these players up on CLG with how great they've looked so far.
Deep breaths early in that Magical, as for the side of FlyQuest, they do potentially...
Are you trying to tell me to meditate?
I mean, I feel like meditating in this early game, man. It's 1-0. CLG is just up 1K.
Have you not met me? I'm the crazy wild
the solo
guy.
lanes are scaling.
I can't sit still for meditation.
Here we go.
Like this. I can't sit still and just watch that. That was a nice flash, though, by Demonte.
Cataclysm doesn't connect. UG does trade out Summoner spells with Spyrax, and we'll have to see what CLG's next play is. I think that CLG, they have 2 minutes left. They feel comfortable at the moment just bleeding out Philip in this top side, but I want to see if they make a play bot as Diamond.
Play a little late. Going to be able to get the Moonlight Vigil with the
wow.
Gale Force as well in the 2v2 fight.
Prismal?
Diamond Tomo find the kill. Just going to be able to get the root onto Prismal, so he cannot chase this any further, even though there is an attempted play being made by UG on the other side. Prismal does not have the backup, but he does have the flash available.
Tomo Diamond, one of the 3 bot lanes that we have in Academy that are the same from last year, pays off here as they get the best of Prismo and Breezy, and that was just raw calculations. Diamond, knowing how much damage they could do, flashes in, both burn, but they get the 2v2 kill. This is traded out on the top side as CLG cash in on the early lead that Dokla has. Second appearance from Rosethorn means that Shelly is dropped, and first turret is taken.
Oh, and a second charge out of Shelly, too. Philip cannot go anywhere near that to be able to stop that secondary charge. Dokla was able to escort Shelly right towards the turret, get a lot of pressure in this top lane. But now that is a long lane for Dokla to have to play with. Does get a lot of gold to be able to help himself out, but it's about translating that elsewhere. You talked about a little bit how CLG's composition, the poke, the later the game goes in, they're going to be set up really nice. But honestly, I kind of look at, as we get a pause, I kind of look at how that top lane play is going to really benefit them. They get a bit of a gold lead. It helps them in this mid-game against FlyQuest's comp, but they still need to make sure that they're never losing that tempo. They're not losing control on that top half of the map with that long lane that UG can really benefit from.
It seems like a quick pause, as we should be out of it shortly. When it comes to breaking that top lane turret, I like it this game because I want to see CLG try and rotate their members to put their bot lane mid. I think that Breezy being able to hover Rosethorn might open up some more opportunities for the side of CLG to find a positive play. And I also want to see Dokla just go straight bot, because he is the strong member at the moment. No one on the side of FlyQuest can match him alone. And if he is able to make his way bot, I think that they could keep on taking turrets on the side of CLG and keep that pace that they have been using in this early game to keep pushing it forward. I mean, they've been averaging being up over 2,000 gold, the 14-minute mark. Here we are, yet again, almost a 2K gold lead when CLG has the scaling solo laners, just playing so well in the early games in this early season.
Impressive. Impressive to consistently maintain that kind of lead out of them. Especially going in a competition like FlyQuest that needs to play towards this early to mid game.
Oh.
There's a TP behind, cleanse away.
That's Dokla.
You gotta be careful. That is gonna be Dokla right behind you. And he's got damage to be able to
fed.
back this up. Tomo has got nowhere to go. Into the alcove he goes just to bury himself into the grave. Dokla getting the kill.
And I love how CLG, it's just a lantern and a poke from Rosethorn to be, and Breezy just to be like, all right, you know what? I committed. I got an assist, and FlyQuest, they have to respond. Good response.
Although, nice response. It's a nice response to be able to get
Really
the kill
well
for
played.
UG. But it's all about how you're going to be able to maintain this. Spyrax can't stay in this lane. He's got to TP back if he wants to be able to maintain this turret control. All the while, CLG are more setting up for that Rift Herald take.
And FlyQuest broke that. And as Demonte is now taken off the map, and while that was going on, Philip crashing the equal amount of waves into this turret as Dokla has bot. Now Dokla will take that one for himself, whereas Philip cannot. So good hover from Rosethorn to shut down that full trade, but not necessarily a terrible series of events for FlyQuest. At least able to respond and trade something out.
But it was... I'm not
another
so
deep
sure
one.
I'm sold on it. The thing is, you lost that tier 1 in the bot lane to
Hold
Dokla.
on.
He was able to get a kill, and Dokla should be able to escape this one.
Oh,
Going
no.
right between the fingers of
Oh,
FlyQuest,
no.
slipping through, even using collateral damage just to get a little bit more distance from Diamond.
TP invested for naught. See what I did there?
Yes, I did.
All right, just making sure. Got to keep you on your toes, man, Magical. As Dragon going to keep all of us on our toes. As CLG trying to take the second one and
Wait
engage
a minute.
bot.
What's going on over there? Yeah, Dokla, why did you step up there, buddy? You had escaped. You were gone. You had survived. You could just bail out of that one, but it was a good turn from Diamond.
No flash, or I should say did have flash, but no ult. No ability to flash as Diamond using that full combo with the depth charge to shut down CLG. And credit to FlyQuest. This is going to be a tough game for them. They're down 2.5k gold. We like the scaling on the side of CLG as we are going to get a replay in a second look. Dokla just gets collapsed. Yeah, that's okay. That's a bit questionable.
A bit.
Yeah, we'll chalk it up to an oops.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair. And it's just a little oopsie-daisy there as the second dragon taken by FlyQuest, getting a turret for Spyrex in the bot lane as well. That's more gold picked up by the side of FlyQuest. We talked about that 2,000 gold lead. Has been shrunk a little bit. It's kind of been like fluctuating between the 3,000, 1,000, going back and forth, back and forth. So FlyQuest getting themselves a little bit more gold is going to be nice for them, especially if they're able to really hit these side lanes. If they're able to utilize Philip, even though the TP is a long way off cooldown, they have to be able to get Philip on those flank angles to find out someone like Prismal.
And on the reset for CLG, I just think it's so difficult for FlyQuest because the map state, Mad Magical, has just shrunk so much for them. As they've only taken one outer turret, CLG has almost taken all three. And it looks like a rinse and repeat of last game where CLG are just using lane priority to make plays, guarantee the fact they have numbers as Rosethorn going to get up in the face of Yuji, get a really positive trade there. This could set up for a Rift Herald take or even knocking down that mid-outer.
See, I don't know if I'm as sold as you are on this being completely out of control for FlyQuest.
Ooh,
I think that
okay.
I actually see them having angles that they can utilize. The fact that they're only down 2,000 gold, they've got 2 dragons to their name, and with these structures still available, and the fact that they don't have that many that they can fall back to, they can try to see if they can bait in CLG into their hands, plus having a Rise who can do this. Realm Warp away to get safety. They could always have that option to get out of dodge and continue to push up while they wait for the next dragon.
That's just a cooldown milk, though, for CLG, and that should be enough to take the second Herald as FlyQuest. They are looking to poke their way into the river. Breezy.
Oh, no, Diamond,
boy.
no! You can't step up like that. Philip doesn't have TP, and that is going to be a free Rift Herald for CLG.
Not able to respond with a mid-outer as FlyQuest. Magical, I think this game for FlyQuest, so you're trying to paint some of the opportunities that they can use to make plays in the side lane. They do have those tools. Whenever you have a Rise, Renekton, Jarvan, you can attack people on sides for CLG. But in the end, if they would have win this game, it has to come down to Tomo on this Aphelios, as he played it to both of their wins against Immortals last week. And he's going to have to be fantastic, as he really is the only piece of late-game insurance for FlyQuest. So I really want to keep our eyes on Tomo to see if he can step up and can be the big carry for FlyQuest in this game. It's going to be a tough ask, but if they want to take this one home, Tomo is going to have to be the one that ends up stepping up.
You've got a good point there, Cubby. And that's where FlyQuest need to make sure they're starting to index towards, is getting Tomo in a great position. He's got a bit of a CS lead over Prismal, but only the 1 kill. He's pretty even at the moment with only that Gale Force to really help him out, to dish out additional damage towards someone like Prismal, who's going to look more for poke than he is actually going to look for full-on fights. And if you can get this gold from turrets, that's going to help Tomo a little bit, try to get him back into a better position to try to see if they can hit Prismal with his wallet.
And this poke comp for CLG is beginning to come online as the Miramana completed for the Corki. Eclipse
Nice
and
trinket.
Almost another completed Miramana for Prismal. It won't be in time for the dragon that is spawning in a minute 10, but it's still on the way. And this dragon, I really want to see if FlyQuest can get in this bot side river first, but it looks like FlyQuest might be sacking this dragon to try and make a play for Baron or this top outer turret. They are still behind at this point, but if you don't have control over that bot river going up against a poke comp, things are going to be doomed if you try and contest that objective, especially against a Corki with package.
Well, I do think that's actually a really good thing to kind of talk about, is how quick FlyQuest's Baron take is. With the rise of Felios, depending on the guns that you have for Felios, they can melt that structure. Or that objective. While you look over to CLG, they don't have such a luxury. You got a Corki package that maybe can start doing good job of zone control. But a Varus, a Corki, Dokla on Graves, Rosethorn, it's going to be a lot slower comparatively.
FlyQuest, as we arrive at this objective, they will take control of the bot river, but that's a Herald and a package for CLG. They're going to have to see this one quick.
Well, let's see.
Oh, no.
Philip's still in the mid, looking for the fight on the other side. Delmonte wants to be able to get into this fight, but he's stunned up for now. It's going to be the package away just to get himself some distance, while the Jelly Charge was able to get into the structure for them. They're looking for the fight continuing. The Dragon is still available. The package is gone out of Delmonte. He has to be available, though.
That was a good start for FlyQuest as Diamond just engaged in the choke and retreated, so Tomo was able to pump out a lot of damage, but now they're in the river where things are more open. See if CLG can execute as Demonte's back with full HP.
Philip taking a lot of damage on the other side. Might have to use that Dominance. No, he doesn't have the ult available, so he's not going to have that ability to be able to get back into the fight. Instead, he's looking for the port back so he can TP into the fight. That's giving a lot of time. CLG onto the Dragon. They've got the pull onto Diamond. Diamond's going to be blown up by Dokla. And if they can root Tomo on the other side, they can look for the engage. The cleanse away with the Gale Force, but Tomo, the distance that he was able to get, it does not help Spyrox, who's taken out on the other side. The Dragon 2 is gone. Here's the TP in from Philip. Without that Dominance still available, Tomo, one against the world, finally silenced by Rosethorn, with Philip slicing and dicing his way for one kill. But unfortunately, it's going to be all for naught, because it's going to be FlyQuest losing out on the Dragon and the fight.
CLG are running Academy in this early season, as we've talked so much about their ability to get early leads, to play through 3 lanes, to play with priority. But then you have the team fighting that they show in this one, as this was a full team effort, Mad Magical, to take this one for themselves. Let's take a second look. Keep your eyes out for this ultimate from Prismal. It connects onto Spyrax and also connects on the Tomo, and it's what splits up FlyQuest in this fight, as Spyrax, he has to flash over the wall. Tomo has to burn Cleanse and Gale Force, and that's what opens up the angle for Breezy to re-engage. And watch this from Rosethorn. The insta-flash out to save the health bar. Wait for Summer to get back up. Breezy says, I'm going on Tomo. He's split. Goes golden. Buys enough time to take down the huge carry for FlyQuest. This is beautiful high-level stuff from CLG, as they are playing great as a team early in all stages of the game.
A divide and conquer in that fight. The target selection, like you said, beautiful. They get the Dragon 2 to deny that soul point potential from FlyQuest and continue to escalate this gold lead. Now ballooning. We saw this last time. It almost feels like it's a rinse and repeat from what we saw before. As Tomo looks for a 1v1 fight, but it's Dokla who shows up just in the nick of time to be able to save his 80 carry. Then the fight too, with Yuji pulled back in. Dokla still alive. The shield's keeping him alive. Diamond tries to get on top of him. Going to be able to get the shutdown with the knockup coming in on the Prismal. As Philip slices, dices, gets himself a kill with the Call of the Meek. Rosethorn and Breezy want to continue the fight, but this entire time, Monte's been just split pushing. They're going to be able to get the kill onto Breezy, with Rosethorn now in a bad spot, fighting 1v4. He's got a big shield, but he doesn't have enough damage. He tries to go back onto Yuji, but barely doesn't take him.
Much needed for FlyQuest, as they see Demonte shoving in that top inner turret, say, we have a 5v4, we have to push the pace and try and make something happen now. And guess what, Mad Magical? They did just that, is with the man advantage. They're turning on to the Baron.
And we talked about before how fast they can actually take this with a rise on their team. Even if Tomo's not there, this is still a fast Baron take. Demonte, he's got to pull off a miracle if he wants to be able to deny this going over to FlyQuest.
He's being really careful, as he doesn't know they're on the Baron. He'll figure it out late. Has Dokla. This should go over to the side of FlyQuest. See if CLG can get anything after.
Though. They're getting a lot of damage on to Philip. Philip's got to be careful. Try to see if they can get anybody on inside of the pit. They're going to take down 2 members. CLG at least get themselves a consolation prize.
I didn't see that Yuji didn't have Smite. That Baron almost went to the Corki Rocket. That was really close for the side of FlyQuest. But COG at least answer back with 2 kills, but FlyQuest really needed that to get back into the game. I think that was a good gambit from them. It's not going to pay off huge, but they at least give themselves something to play off of. As this Baron, they should be able to knock down those last 2 outers and get some standing gold on the Rift in their pockets.
Well, and you had talked about this late game poke from CLG. With a Baron on top of him, that is a death sentence for FlyQuest. Denying it the Baron take for CLG at this point is enough to buy them time. They need to make sure they're getting these picks, though. Prismal has that Lantern. He's going to be fine. But it's all about how you're keeping this game going as FlyQuest, because they still got to be careful. The longer this game continues, it's looking dire and dire.
I do respect that attempt from Yuji with the control ward. Just being optimistic. You know that Prismal is there alone if that Lantern is coming out preemptively. If they find that, it's huge for the side of FlyQuest. So I'm a hero for those looks, as FlyQuest, they have had better looks in this game compared to game 1, and it's why they're somewhat in this, still down quite a bit of gold, but the Baron does buy time. That doesn't favor FlyQuest nearly as much as it did in the last game, but at least they're able to pick some things up on the Rift for themselves.
And looking at the inventories, these items being built up by both squads, and the one that really stands out to me, and even if it is the kind of a normal build, it's the Bloodthirster for Tomo. He's 1, 3, and 2 on this Aphelios. Getting that makes it so that he's more tanky as opposed to what he would normally be, and the one that then benefits from that is Spyrex, who's got himself a Void Staff, has the Archangel Staff completed into Seraph's Embrace. And you talked about you were worried a little bit about the scaling from the side of FlyQuest. Suddenly, we're looking at this Rise as being more of a carry.
I actually really like the pointed steel camps from Tomo, I should say, as well. Going up against 4 auto attackers, 3 of them doing physical damage. I think that's going to get a lot of value. As we have another dragon, Demonte and CLG have control over the bot river, and there is a package. I think FlyQuest, they're trading this out for mid-outer with the Baron wave. I think this is a smart play from them.
Philip had dodged so much of that vision, going around trying to see if he could snake his way through his own jungle, but finally gets spotted out while the dragon gets taken by the side of CLG. Like you said, it's that tier 1 that was eventually secured, and Philip gets caught out. That damage is explosive. Philip just needs to get one more rocket, but it's going to be the win becomes lightning kill for Rosethorn.
The call and the decision-making from CLG, so good there as Prismal sees the Crocodile out of position, says, we're going in here. That package was running out. They were able to net 1 kill out of it. And now CLG looking at that bot inner turret for themselves as FlyQuest looking to potentially respond on Rosethorn and Prismal.
They have to punish something. They're going to be able to get the Lantern here from Rosethorn, but he's rooted for so damn long. Maybe he can't. The control ward wasn't enough to deny that Lantern.
Control ward and the flag. Rosethorn must have had to zoom in his camera very far in to make sure he got that Lantern as FlyQuest trying to make a power play. They bring a couple minions with themselves.
They're just going to try to see if they can contest this against the push that was coming into the bot lane from CLG, so at least they'll be able to answer with this tier 2.
FlyQuest getting creative with some of these realm warps. Really like to see this, and something that I probably should have brought up earlier, Spyrax's Rise in Collegiate was a nightmare. It is one of his stronger champions, so good to see him playing the Rise in this one and showing one of the reasons that he did end up on this Academy roster as a very powerful individual player that we've had on the ladder, and showing some of the picks that he has had success with at a lower level, bringing them out here to have some success at a higher level. Like seeing those creative realm warps going out for FlyQuest. And they have been fighting back in this game. It is a tough one for FlyQuest to win, but they've been putting up a pretty good fight against the top team that we have in the league at the moment.
Well, at one point they were about 6,000 gold behind CLG. They've shrunk that lead a little bit. 5,000 now. They find themselves in the hole, but that's at least making up some of the distance. And you can see how that's translating with the carries, right? You only have 1,000 that separates Zamonte versus Spyrex. You look at Tomo versus Prismal. That's the big one, is that Tomo has a slight edge over his competition.
Know that we did tease the fact that these two bot lanes go back to 2020 spring. Tomo and Diamond on that C9 Academy roster. All right, Tomo came in the summer. They did win in spring and summer. Spring, it was king in 2020. But good to see Tomo and Diamond putting together those performances as Rosethorn has a Lantern.
Does he have the Lantern that he can click, though? He's locked in this pit for so long. We got a lot of damage back onto Yuji at least on the way out.
That's a flash. And for FlyQuest, something their comp does very well is punish summoners being down. They have an overload of crowd control, as Rosethorn will have to be much more careful about how he positions. That's twice now where FlyQuest have been able to bleed him out of his HP in a few summoner spells. And for CLG, the one thing that I kind of have an issue with when it comes to their comp is if they don't have Dokla with them, their Baron take is very slow.
Yep.
With both mid and bot opting for the poke builds. And I think that FlyQuest are doing a good job of punishing it and opening up more windows. The fact that CLG can't take that Baron for free. And now Rosethorn, no flash. Good play.
Finds him out with the Everfrost 2. Lantern once more was able to take that to get back to safety. Tomo's on the other side, though. Moonlight Vigil barely not connecting. Philip has already popped an early dominance with Brisbal on the other side. Trying to chase him down. It's going to be a realm warp to look for that. The flash over the wall. Going to be safe for now.
I love how Prismal drops that slow field in the choke, too. Showing some experience. And oh, no!
Diamond, no! Flash over the wall, but Damonte flashes over as well to pick up the kill and a rampage.
Prismal is still running for the hills. We'll see if his team can help him out as Dokla might find Yuji.
Big pick? No, they don't. Instead, it's UG has to flash away and go golden. The TP comes in from Damonte to make sure they can get this kill onto UG with the Cataclysm on top of him to pick up UG while they get the kill onto Prismal. A 2-for-1 across the board.
A bit goofy. CLG, they have the numbers advantage. We'll see if they can push. Damonte's looking to land these rockets. That's a big one.
Yeah, but look at how low some of these members are. They got to be careful when they turn for this fight. They've got a lot of damage coming in on Tomo. They got a double kill immediately out of Damonte. They blow them up.
And I love how Damonte, he is the newest member to this roster. Obviously a coach, but playing in these games, waited for Rosethorn to ult, land the CC, so that big rocket guaranteed to connect. The insta-double popping up on the screen, and Damonte, him sitting at 6-1-6. Coach is coming in, carrying some of the boys on the Rift as CLG now set their sights towards the Baron.
Hell yeah, he is. He's got all the stacks of Magi's, too, after that play. He is out of control on this Corki. And you talked about needing Dokla to be able to take a fast Baron. Well, he is here. They both survived, and they're easily going to be able to secure themselves the Purple Worm.
We'll see if it gets traded out for the Dragon as UG Diamond are sprinting to try and deny this from CLG. But the TPs are in. That's going to be enough to deter them.
Philip doesn't have TP either. Spyrex might have it, and he can use it. They go for the play, but they miss the hook. With the depth charge on top of Dokla, immediately the Chain of Corruption was a little too early coming in from Prismal, but that's a lot of damage with the poke from those piercing arrows. Dokla has the Lantern on the other side, but he wants to fight. He's got the Cataclysm damage to be able to back that one up.
Oh, Dokla's ability to see that with Prismal. He is playing at such a high level in this early season. Turns the play on FlyQuest. That's the third Infernal Dragon going over to CLG. A package for Damonte. They could just end on this Baron push.
I was about to say, third Infernal Dragon, my ass. They want the game. They don't need to get the Dragon stacking here because they got the Baron. They've got the kills. It's a long cooldown. And look, with that kill solo from Damonte onto Philip, I can't even believe it just happened on the other side. This game's over.
The package from Damonte. I guess we get to say it here on the Academy stream. It's Tanner time. I haven't been able to say that for a while, but Damonte stepping in, putting up some good performances as the coach as they're still waiting to get triple into this lineup. But CLG not missing any beats. Doesn't matter who's playing, who's in the games. They're taking the Nexus.
Tick-tock, tick-tock. 8-1, 8-1-7 here for Damonte. With a 2-0 lead, CLG remain on top of Academy.
And I know that going into the season, I personally had CLG rated like 4th. By the end of the split, I thought that CLG, they have the most experience out of any Academy team, even with triple playing. I think that I could see the theory of this lineup. You have Rosethorn with some really powerful sides in Dokla and Prismo and Breezy. I had high expectations for both those side lanes, but man, the way they're playing as a team in this early season, credit to Coach Juves and the rest of the CLG organization. They're playing on a different level compared to every other team in the league at the moment. No one has been able to touch them since their first game of C9 where they got purified by a scaling comp. Since then, CLG have put the pieces together and are now on a 9-game winning streak in Academy.
They are absolutely insane here in our spring split. I mean, just looking at them across the board, every single one of their members. Palafox before, stepping in for triple, and here Damonte stepping in for triple, looking great. And that wasn't the only thing. It's not like they were carried by their substitutes. Every one of their members has been playing so well in these games that really all adds up with one another to make it so they have that 9-game win streak.
And At this point, it feels weird. I really want to see Team Liquid and CLG match back up because Team Liquid now have Ayla back in the lineup, who's one of the best players that we have in Academy, but we're going to have to wait to see that. And until then, I really want to see if any team can try and match CLG because the form they're in, the read they have in this patch, and their ability to execute the team comps that they are selecting, it really is a high level of League of Legends that we're seeing in Academy. Love seeing CLG in this good a form early in the season, and it's making the league rather interesting as a lot of these teams are scaling, still trying to come together, still trying to get their full rosters in. As C9, I mean, this is the first day they're going to be playing with their Academy lineup. CLG seem to be months ahead of the game with how well and how synergistically they're matching up in this early season. Really strong play coming out from them. Can't say enough good things.
That's only week 3. We're
I
so
know.
early into the
It's
season,
huge.
yet they're looking so damn strong as a team, as an organization, that we have to... I mean, if they can continue this dominance, if they can continue this streak, we got to look at them as being the favorites for Proving Grounds.
Long way out from there. But yeah, CLG is playing some really damn good League of Legends, and love to see that in the early season. I expect most teams to, be scaling. The fact that CLG look like they're in mid-season form already, I think it makes for a much more exciting league, and they're going to have everyone gunning for them as we move ahead, which is got to be a different feel for CLG as an organization, but hey, they swapped out pretty much everyone on that staff when it came to staff and players in the offseason after they failed to make Proving Grounds last year and took 10th in the split. And for the members that stuck around and the members that are coming in, I mean, props to CLG as this full turnaround in Academy. And once the LCS teams start playing this weekend, really excited to see the form that CLG is in there as well. Because if it's anything close to the form they're in Academy, whew, this team is playing some damn good league at the moment.
And it makes me wonder what team could even contest against them. Even though we haven't seen every team have their full rosters really collected at this point, just seeing how some of the top teams have even been playing, CLG seems miles ahead. You talked about the stat that they had where, what was it, the 59%?
59% of the time in the game, they have a major gold lead. That is absurd. That is 23% over the next highest team.
That's insane. That is absolutely insane.
Probably grew after this series, too.
Right. The fact that it's only happening week 3, we maybe have to look at that a little bit later into the season. But for now, we're going to toss it a break. When we come back, hopefully we'll be back with our beautiful host of Mazel, so stick around.